Joining us on the program this evening, Member of Parliament from the Shiv Sena, Priyanka Chaturvedi, who has in the past said that religion should be kept out of schools and has supported the idea of a uniform for all. Farah Naqvi, writer and activist, joining us this evening as well. And Geeta Bhatt, a political activist, supporter of the BJP, is with us. Lawyer Mihira Sood will be joining us shortly. She's a law professor. And Mohammed Taher, a lawyer, also joining us this evening on the program. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Priyanka Chaturvedi, let me just get you in on this. Asaduddin Owaisi on this program just a little while earlier, very, very vocal in his opposition to this order. Are you happy with this, or do you genuinely happy with this, or do you believe that this could really create further friction in an already polarized society?
So I wouldn't say I'm happy or I'm sad about this. All I would say is that rule of law has been upheld. When our fundamental rights are told to us and repeated to us as per the constitutional rights, so do we come with fundamental duties. And that has been my only point of view on this particular issue. Unfortunately, it has been polarized to an extent where a lot of students who were Hindus were trying to also victimize these girls. So this was extremely unfortunate, and the politicization of the entire issue, something that could have been contained and handled amongst the students, the parents and the school, was blown out of proportion for political brownie point seeking. Karnataka High Court has only done what probably Kerala High Court in an earlier judgment had ruled. We've also seen Mumbai High Court taking a similar decision. So I would, as far as I'm concerned, one is the law and order, the other being about following the norms that have been set. This did not come about suddenly. This was part of the school process, and I think that should have been honored. That has been my point of view.
Farah Naqvi, how do you see this verdict today?
I see this verdict in absolutely unequivocally as a terrible verdict, and I exercise my right to disagree completely. 100%. I don't see a single sliver of hope in this verdict to repair a fundamental harm that is already well underway in this country. We have to remember, and I also disagree with perhaps even your opening remarks, this is not a gender debate. This is not about pardas and hijabs and veils. This follows on a series of azan. There is a movement against azan underway in Madhya Pradesh. Congregational prayers in Gurgaon have been stopped.
I said that as well.
Yes, but to qualify and say, well, I am against hijab and parda, but this is not, we put every time a symbol of Muslim presence in India comes under attack, we begin to debate that symbol itself. It's like when Akhlaq was lynched, we were debating whether there was beef in his fridge rather than the lynching of the man. Right now, the subject at hand
I can tell you, we're definitely not debating what meat was in his fridge.
I know you are not. I am saying that
as a society.
In general, the state was debating and right-wing hooligans and mobs were debating. My point, look, Nidhi, my point is simply this. This is following on we are talking about a kind of a cultural obliteration project that is underway. Remove names of Muslim emperors from roads and streets and towns, ban the azan, ban the hijab. Mosques, as you famously know, the Supreme Court already declared it non-essential to Islam itself. And the order itself repeatedly talks about hijab and bhagwa in the same breath. I mean, to actually elevate the bhagwa, which was an act of aggression by some male Hindu students and some female Hindu students subsequently, to elevate that in this order as equal is absurd. To actually, for an order to say that there is a reasonable restriction on so many, when there are so many fundamental rights at stake. And it's not just one, it's 19, it's 21, it's 25. and you talk
I
about
get your point,
being,
Farah. As you said, there is a context to this. It is the current environment that we're living in, where there is clearly an othering of the Muslim minority in this country.
there's an attempt to obliterate.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just an othering.
Right, okay.
Can I just finish with one last
Yeah.
point? My hope was that this should have been resolved at the Karnataka High Court level. It is such a simple adjustment to have asked for. None of those petitioners said no uniform. And yet the order carries on about the need to have uniform and uniformity and simply refuses to explain why the turban is allowed and why the hijab is not.
So
it is silent on that issue.
Yes. So Geeta Bhatt, can I just ask very simply, so many of these girls and young women have been attending classes all these years wearing a headscarf. They didn't disturb public order. The Kendriya Vidyalaya, the central schools run by the government, allow girls to wear headscarves as long as it matches their uniform. These girls were wearing their uniform too. So did this issue just get completely blown out of proportion, and deliberately so?
Well, Nidhi, you see 2-3 points I would like to make here. First of all, you see in India, I think it is a very wrong way of projecting that the right of Muslim women to wear hijab or burqa has been taken away from them. This is how it is being projected by many Muslim leaders. The point is that in a university, just because, please remember that we are talking about an educational institution's right to decide the conduct within their institution, whether it is in terms of the uniform that they are wearing, whether it is in terms of how they conduct their classes or the different programs they run within their campus. All this falls under the autonomy of an institution. Now, what the judgment actually says is, or reflects upon, is that it is the collective right of an institution's autonomy that has been given preference over an individual's right to dress up in a particular manner. And in universities, because largely in universities there is no dress conduct is there. So because of that, in universities, because I teach in a university, in my university girls, they come in skirts, they even come in burqa to attend the classes, and they have full right. So the first point is that let us not try to impose upon the educational institutions that they will have to allow a particular individual's right to dress up in a particular manner. I think that is one of the most important.
But they're wearing the uniform. They're just wearing a headscarf, and they've been wearing it for many years. My point is, they've been wearing it for many years. They haven't harmed anybody by wearing it. What about Sikh turbans then? Where do we stop?
You see, Neha, Nidhi, in Udupi, where this whole this controversy began, there are ample number of evidences which shows, there are photographs which very categorically show that these girls have been coming to school in their whatever way they're dressing up inside the school. They used to be in their school uniform, prescribed uniforms, and they were doing it till couple of months back. First point. Second point I want to make here is that here the panelists are trying to bring the unfortunate death of Akhlaq, but are forgetting to also put forth that a young man called Harsha was murdered just because he had put up a post where he also supported that whatever is the educational institution's right, that should be protected. So this also happened in Karnataka. So what is important is that please remember there are larger forces which are working, which are imposing upon these girls and trying to create this kind of this kind of an atmosphere, this kind of a polarization.
No.
So what is important over here is
I wonder. I wonder who those larger forces. I just have to give a chance to just two more panelists. I just like to bring them in. Mihira Sood is with us, and Mohammed Tahir. Both of them are lawyers. Mohammed Tahir, just to you first. Now this matter has gone to the Supreme Court. Is this now going to become an issue where Muslim personal law, in a sense, is going to be decided on by the Supreme Court of the country? That will have huge ramifications as well.
See, madam, basically, I just wanted to bring this one fact before to all the panelists. See, the issue was very small. It has started from one small town, from a PU college, and issue was very simple as that. See, as per the PU board own guidelines was that there is a no uniform there in PU colleges. It is guidelines there available there in the website. So the only concession which these people sought, this petitioner sought, that we don't have any information, in spite it is it is not prescribed by the board, but it is illegally imposing by the college authorities. In spite of that, we don't have any objections. What we are seeking exception is, what the dupatta is there in the school uniform, we should allow us to use it as a headscarf. That was the only prayer which was made initially. Then subsequently what happened is, we know that this system works. As Madam rightly said that, say there's some section in the society, those wanted to communalize the entire matter. So I just wanted to just point out this factor. There is one divisive forces which is running throughout India in entire system, which this picked these issues, and they made it so wide and it extended to each and every corner of the Karnataka. Even they taken this entire India, this issue, and is converted a Hindu-Muslim.
Yeah.
For this purpose only, they had trained the student, instigated them to bring with the saffron shawls. Even the 50 lakh saffron shawls were bought Karnataka to counter this entire issue. So these things are there in the society. Now it is gone up to that level. The matter unfortunately went to Supreme Court. And the order what has been supposed to decide it, they have not decided at all.
Yeah,
they're supposed to decide
let me ask Mihira that question as well.
By the board.
Mihira, just a comment on that has, as I was asking Mr. Owaisi as well, has the court actually gone beyond its remit here? Is there a judicial overreach?
The court, I think, has asked itself the wrong questions, and therefore it has arrived at the wrong answers, frankly speaking. Because the two questions that the court has posed to itself. One, whether hijab is an essential religious practice. Now, fundamentally, the idea of essential religious practice is flawed. It ossifies a religion, it makes it difficult to change, and courts should be the last institution that should be entering that debate for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that the difficulty of change and reform becomes even more problematic when it is laid down by a court of law. All right? And secondly, when it comes to the issue of the uniform, as the lawyer before me, Mr. Mohammed Tahir, rightly pointed out, it is simply a question of wearing the dupatta that is already part of the uniform over one's head. The court has frankly missed opportunities to address important issues here, like whether there is an individual right to express any religious conviction within the confines of the uniform. And it's important here because there's a lot of misinformation being spread. It's important here to distinguish between the hijab and any full face covering like a niqab or a burqa, because there may be concerns, institutions may have legitimate concerns with face coverings, whether it is related to security, proper identification, preventing malfeasance during exams. All of those may be legitimate administrative concerns. But the fact of the matter is that those are not before us right now. It's a question of a simple headscarf, which is worn across the country in a variety of cultures and a variety of contexts.
Exactly.
And various other religious symbols. The court has given itself, this entire issue of saffron stoles is just something that the court has given itself, as a fig leaf of showing that it is demonstrating equality, when it is not something that was otherwise worn as a matter of practice by
Priyanka Chaturvedi on that.
Religious faith was just pure political provocation.
Priyanka Chaturvedi, is there any plan by the Maharashtra government to ban headscarves in schools there or colleges?
India, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, Nidhi, we would not be interfering in any spaces, any educational institutions, and if educational institutions have these rules and regulations, every student would have to abide by that. So this is how we have worked, this is how we have studied. There was no religious symbolism inside our schools, inside our classrooms, and that is how Maharashtra has managed to, stay out of such debates which divide people on the basis of their religious identities. We should stop reducing individuals, especially students who are coming to seek an education, to their religious identities.
I have to leave it at that tonight. There was a time when I was in school when we had multi-faith prayers in the school assembly every single day, and I think times have really, really changed today. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Thank you.